My name is Peter, recovered alcoholic. Grateful to be alive and sober and part of a sacred place called Alcoholics Anonymous. And first things first, thank the committee, Jeff, for reaching out to me and for being so kind on our way in here, seeing my friend Jerry here, and a lot of newfound friends since we walked in the door. I want to thank the speakers and the folks in Al-Anon who are on the committee this afternoon. So it's been a blast since we arrived. So thank you for having us. And I'm looking forward to hearing, I met James earlier. He's somewhere around here on a panel, so I'll get to hear him tomorrow morning. June 23rd, 1988 has been loving God separated me from alcohol. I'm very grateful for this gift of sobriety. Very grateful for the many things God has given me. And the longer I'm sober, I'm grateful for the many things God has taken away from me. And those are the things I thought I needed to be okay. Usually external things, that if I get there, if I achieve that, if I have this, I will be okay. And I got a taste of some of those things and I was still not okay. And so I'm very grateful for the work God has done on this alcoholic. I do have a home group. It's called Alcoholics and God in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And I do have a sponsor. His name is Bob Bazans from St. Paul, Minnesota. And I sponsor about a dozen men currently. And they all know I'm their sponsor. And if you're here a while, you know exactly what I mean by that. So it keeps us active. My wife and I get to travel. My wife a whole bunch. She speaks a whole bunch. I speak a whole bunch. We work together. Sometimes we do workshops. So it's just a great life God has given me. Our home is like a phone room sometimes. You know, I'm in one spot with the sponsees and their butts on fire, and she's in the next room and working with her girls, and somehow we get to find time for each other. So it's been a good life since I arrived here, and I continue to chop wood and carry water. Yeah, I've shared this from a bunch of podiums before we get going, that the truth is true until we discover new truths along this journey. And we wake up, and Bill talks about emotional sobriety. I had a sponsor called it Growing Up Spiritually. And our point of view changed, at least mine has changed a lot, until what's really important, what's going to just be here and be gone tomorrow. What do I really value? What does that look like on this journey? And something was put on my heart a number of years ago, and it was so profound that I had to pay attention to it. And I often find sometimes in a prayer meditation or sometimes when you're just a place of contemplation that God will put something on your heart and you don't have to write it down. It's there. It's God's thumbprint and you're shifted. You're changed. And the point of view changes. For so long, I would see the world through my mind, speak through my mind, hear through my mind, act through my mind. And it's a terrible filter to do life. And what this work allows me to do and the sacred fellowship allows me to do is operate out of the soul, which is perfect. I get to see through the soul, hear through the soul, speak through the soul, operate out of the soul. And when I'm operating in that place, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, where I'm supposed to be. And I'm traveling light. So one of the things God put on my heart was about relationships. When we study our big book, the first problem, the first bedevilment is having trouble in personal relationships. And they're not talking about an occasional spat we might have with someone. They're talking about trouble, grinding out, relationships, outwardly or inwardly. I'm not okay. A lot of narratives, a lot of traffic in the head. And I take a look at that. What do my relationships look like? But then it burst upon me, what's the most important relationship I'm ever going to have in my life? And that's what this power called God. What does that look like? What does it sound like? How often am I turning to God? Am I worshiping God in a part of me that thinks it's God? When adversity hits, do I look to put my hands on the wheel and acquire some new stuff to ease the pain? Or am I bending knees going back to God? What does that look like going live? Even when good times come, when things really come to fruition, am I going back to God and saying, thank you? I mean, what does that relationship look like? Is it tangible? Experientially, can I talk to you about my relationship with God? Third step says, as we understood him, I have a conception of God. I know who I pray to, but I'll never understand this God. But my job is to chop wood and carry water and remove anything that's in the way of me and him. And the best way to do that is surrender. What do my relationships look like in general? The freedom I'm seeking today is no longer for me, but from me. And in order for me to see things clearly out there, in order for me to hear things clearly out there, I first must experience the power that's in here before I do anything. My relationships with people, what do they look like? Do I have tension when Joe or Mary walk in the rooms? Oh, no, it's them. They got a big book. Oh, no, they're concept people. I got to get out of here, What does that look like? I'm sitting on the couch. What kind of narratives I got about people? I mean, the mind is still in charge, and I still have plaque on the soul. And my job was to kind of get rid of that by asking God to show me how to navigate through this, how to have a different point of view on these people, acquire a better attitude towards them. And the people who are close to me, to let them know I love them. My friends, my brothers, my wife, to let them know I love them. Even though they may not reciprocate, that's really okay. Because I can wait till tomorrow to do it, I can wait till tomorrow to do it, and tomorrow, and then tomorrow's today, and it's too late. I have no clue how much further I got before God takes my last breath. We take it for granted. I don't want to put my head on a pillow, take a last breath and go, I should have. I should have made that call. I should have cleaned that up. Or they may be gone. I don't want to have that on my soul. I'd be a hypocrite in Alcoholics Anonymous, talking to you about this power, this great fellowship, and this sacred book. And meantime, I'm harboring stuff towards people. I can't do that. At least me, I can't. The other thing I've learned is about this thing called sobriety, How fragile it really is, like life. I mean, I can pray all day long. I can write inventory all day long. I can meditate all day long. Do a lot of the things we're asked to do in Alcoholics Anonymous, but I still have this part of me called the mind. The four-letter word, this predator, the greatest predator ever to hit the planet, is my own thinking. Why we tell new people, bring the body and the mind will follow? I don't get it. I don't want your mind or my mind showing up anywhere in the state of Georgia. I can't tell how many times I just got to Florida in 2011, and I'm looking around. Oh, my God. I'm living up north. It's December, January, February. It's 80 degrees out. I'm sitting on the couch. This is absolutely wonderful. This weather is great. The palm trees are great. The beach is great. The water is great. The job is great. The money's great. Everything's great. My health is great. Everything's great. And then the mind gets in the middle and says, how old are you now? How many years you got left? And by noon, I got to go snorkeling, hiking, camping, and fishing. Make a movie, star, produce, and directed it, and get an Academy Award because I wrote out the speech already. And I go from Moses to Rambo. But that's what the mind does. It gets in the way of relationships between me and God, between you and I. When I'm okay with God, I'm okay with me, which means I'm okay with you. That's just the way that works. But this thing called sobriety is so fragile. And no matter what I do, I still have this mind I'm going to have till I take my last breath. I get space between me and my own thinking, but it gets in there once in a while. You're looking at someone, by the way, who's broken and flawed. I'm the car when it drives away has an oil spot on the concrete. That's me. And there was a time in Alcoholics Anonymous I rejected that idea. I thought because I'm in AA doing the steps, I float now. And no pain and suffering is ever going to happen. I'm beyond reproach with everything. I'm going to be rich and famous because I'm in AA and no pain. And then life shows up. I'm not immune from that. Marion sponsors his life is in session. And if I listen to my mind little by little, I start to walk away from you. I start to walk away from God. I start to walk away from all the things that have been feeding me, and I find myself isolating. Even though I'm sitting around 100 people, I'm still isolating. I become consumed with me rather than being immersed in God. That gets painful. It gets uncomfortable. And what I do when I got the rids, the restless and discontented stuff, when that spring gets tight enough, there's one solution for me. Once a drunk, always a drunk. I get drunk. I pick up whiskey. I don't even want to think about what would happen to me. So my job is to stay in the center of Alcoholics Anonymous. And the trick is not to depend upon me. So he came in AA, that there was some self-reliance involved. Is I'm going to get me sober. I'm going to get humble by Friday. I love when folks say, how to get humble. Tell me how you did that. I'm curious. It's forged out of the pain, on an anvil of pain and suffering. That's where that happens and is discovered. And we're the last ones to know it. But I do all the things I can, and I truly do my best to depend upon this power and come to this sacred fellowship called Alcoholics Anonymous. By the way, if you're new, there's a young lady here with 3 days. We met her on the elevator. Welcome. If I had a prayer for anyone in this room, it would be that you stuck around long enough to experience the sacredness of Alcoholics Anonymous, where we see lives get reborn and resurrected for fun and for free. We don't care what color you are. We don't care what political party you are. We don't care what religion you are. We don't care if you're rich or poor. We just care if you want help with your drinking, sit down, we'll pour you a cup of coffee, and a new life we will give you for fun and for free. You don't need an insurance policy. You can call any time. The light's always on, the coffee's always going. It's called Alcoholics Anonymous. It is truly, I'm convinced of this, God's love and God's mercy that keeps these doors open. Where else are you going to get one drunk working with another drunk at 2 o'clock in the morning with no pay involved, no leverage involved, nothing but the love for another drunk, because that's where God has brought us. We start to operate out of the soul. The mind says, this is uncomfortable, it's inconvenient, I'll see you later. Am I getting paid for this? The soul just goes. That's quite frankly like God's will and our will. So there's so much I can talk about that I'm grateful for. I just heard the Yankees were winning, so I feel very spiritual right now. It's interesting what happens to us on this journey, how life happens. I realized when I got back to my room, and I don't want to be morbid, but tomorrow will be 1 year since I buried my dad, who became my hero. And he's been kind of floating around in my head a whole bunch, thinking about some of the things he did. And we had a terrible relationship when I was growing up. But I was able to get clear with that and clean with my dad before he passed. There was nothing between us. And when he did pass, I was able, as my sponsor, go be there for your families. You'll cry, and I did on my wife's shoulder. And you'll get angry, and you'll bargain, you deny, go through all those things. He said, but right now you're going to go be there for your family because they need somebody to lean on. And I did that whole burying my dad with head up and shoulder square like he taught me as a kid. That's AA going life for me. It wasn't about me. I wasn't looking for self-pity or poor me, I lost my dad. I was in a lot of pain. But I had to be there for others and work with other alcoholics. Alcoholics Anonymous going live. You know what happened? A whole bunch of you guys showed up at my dad's wake. I had a friend who had to speak upstate, and he came to the event and then went to his conference. It was that important to be there with me. That's Alcoholics Anonymous. June 23rd, 1988, I'm laying in the back of an abandoned building hallway on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, New York City, called Alphabet City. Avenue A, B, C, and D. And back in the day, it was a very, very sordid spot. You had the junkies, you had winos, and then the crack scene hit and it just blew up. It was a mess down there. You had the projects and people couldn't afford to move out, and they were stuck with knuckleheads like me rolling through the hallways and the streets at night. It was a really bad spot. Abandoned buildings, all of it. And that's where I took up residency, in the back of an abandoned building. I was about 130 pounds back then. I was urinating blood, running around with hepatitis C. I was weak and feeble. If I lived to be 100, I'll never be as old as the day I walked into Alcoholics Anonymous. But I found this abandoned building in the back of the hallway. I felt safe back there. The cops wouldn't roll in there too often, and there weren't not too much action back there. So I felt safe with a pint and a few pills. I'm okay. I'll just drink in oblivion and figure it out tomorrow. See, my alcoholism will pay any price tomorrow to seek comfort right now. My alcoholism will do that in sobriety, will pay any price tomorrow to seek comfort tonight. They're called sex sprees and food sprees and gambling sprees and money sprees and you name it. Because I'm really uncomfortable right now. I don't like what I'm feeling. I don't like what's going around, so I'll go do this. I'll figure it out tomorrow. And I merge remorse with the firm resolution not to do that again. And I go back in again. Because I'm spiritually weak. I'm spiritually anemic. The muscles are like marshmallow in now. I need to get spiritually fed to do life on God's terms. But here I was in this abandoned building hallway, and my existence was going out into the street and panhandling or stealing, going to the liquor store. If I had extra money, buy some pills and go back to the hallway. Sometimes I roamed the streets at night. Rarely. And I'm wearing these construction boots, and the right boot was missing a front. My pants were bloodstained and soiled. I had this brown turtleneck and a black zip-up jacket. And I'm sweating and cold at the same time. It's June in New York. It's like hot and muggy, and I'm chilly. I'm cold all the time, but I'm sweating profusely. My body's vibrating. I had no idea. After all the treatment centers I went to, I'm going through withdrawal. I didn't even know this. I don't know what was going on with me. It was just living a life of quiet desperation all the time. I was due to get arrested again or beat up or even worse on the street. My number was about to come up, and I knew it. I was petrified all the time, had no contact with my family. They locked doors on me. Last thing my dad said to me back then was, "You want to get better, I'll do anything for you. You're going to do this thing, don't come around anymore." And he did it with a heavy heart. And I came to on this filthy in the back of this hallway, and you know, we don't see God coming often. He just shows up. When he shows up, he shows up. It's profound. It's life changing. It's transforming. It's revolutionizing. But sometimes we can't see God coming. Same way I can't see my illness turning the corner either often. And I didn't know God was about to completely change my life. My mind owned me. It was controlling me. What it told me to do, I did. It would be thoughts, so I believed them to be true, which gave them power. What I've learned in Alcoholics Anonymous, my thought life, if I'm not careful, will create my current reality. They're my thoughts. I thought I have thoughts. They have me. Because they're my thoughts, I just get rid of them. They own me, and they create my reality. And I came to on this floor, and I had this moment of clarity, like, oh my God, I reek. I haven't had a bath in I don't know how long. My fingernails were filthy. I'm dirty. I feel the weakness. I feel like I'm trembling. What is wrong? And I'm in the back of this hallway. It's suddenly like I saw myself in the back of this hallway for the first time. What am I doing here? How did I get here? I picked up a drink at 14. It was euphoric. How did I get here? I'm a bum. And I don't know what to do. And I hurt. I felt dirty on the outside, but worse, I felt dirty on the inside. I'm embarrassed. I'm humiliated to go out there. Didn't have this for a long time. But I had to get out there and panhandle because I need whiskey. This wasn't about, I think I'll drink today. I need a drink to settle me down. But I can't stop once I start. When I went to get up off the floor, I collapsed. I've shared this from a million podiums. It would be as if someone came behind me and hit me from the back of the knees. My knees buckled and down I go, and then everything changed. The last time I had wept was at my mom's wake when I was 14 years old. Up until then, I walled up, stoic. And when you're in that life, you almost have to be. And suddenly the dam broke, and it was as if the fist of Gulliver reached down and pulled out all the poison because I could not stop weeping. So, oh my God, what's going on with me? Heaving and weeping. Yeah. I said, oh my God, I've lost my mind. When I'm happy to report to you, I had lost my mind. It's only when I'm out of my mind can I truly experience God. Where I don't feel apart from God, but I feel a part of God. Yeah? My alcoholism is getting a life by devouring mine, and for a minute God got in the middle. We call it getting surrendered. And when we hit that kind of bottom, I've heard enough of your stories, when we hit that kind of bottom, we don't have to hit a bottom anymore. We'll have some in sobriety, but we don't have to hit that kind of bottom. There's an author, Richard Roy, who calls it falling up. I didn't know what was going on with me. Now back then, guys, if you were a man and you talked to me about God, religion, spiritual things, went to your religious community, I looked at you as a man as weak and cowardly. I would look, as the book says, askance at many who claim to be godly. Church, God, religion, spirituality was for women and children. It is not for men. Men who do that are weak and cowardly. Plus, I despise God. I was never an atheist, but I hated God. God took my mom from me when I was 14 and gave me basic gangster for a dad, and he and I never got along, and I'm a Bowery bum. What kind of God would do this? I hate him. I would more than bristle with antagonism if you talked to me about God. I knew he was there. I was never an atheist. Well, you know what God does? He creates an environment for us. He creates an environment to get our attention. And it doesn't have to be punitive either. But he will do what he has to do to create an environment to get our attention. And that's where he put me in this hallway. And in that moment, I remember the only place I can turn to right now, because no one's picking up the phone. No one's coming to get me. There's no money to borrow anymore. I don't know what to do. It was panic, and the only place I can turn to is, please take me from this. I don't want to die. Those were my exact words. And we live life forward and understand it backwards, yeah? I wasn't thinking, hey, I need to go to detox, and then I'll go to treatment. Then I'll come into AA, do 90 meetings in 90 days, and be Moses by Monday. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where to go. I know nothing about Alcoholics Anonymous. 6 treatment centers under my belt. I know nothing about Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't know about Bill and Bob and steps and I know nothing. All I know is how to do treatment now. That's it. Please take me from this. I don't want to die. My dad was in a town called Atlantic City spending some time with his wife. And around 2 or 2:30 in the morning that day, he was awakened out of his sleep, as he's told the story for many years. And he had this, what he called a feeling in his gut to come look for me. And he listened to it. Thank you, God. And as he was getting dressed in his hotel, his wife woke up and said, where are you going? And he said, I got to find my son. He said, who? Peter. We haven't seen him in forever. Where are you going to go? Look, he said, I don't know. But I have to go. And everyone knows that. Atlantic City to Lower East Side, that's a long drive into the hood. And later that day, after my prayer to God, if he's even listening, my dad shows up. My old man shows up, drives up in the car, gets out of the car, and calls my name. And he walked across the street. And the very first thing that comes out of this mouth is, Dad, I'm okay, I'm fine. Not like, thank you, God. You know, I prayed early, and God connects the dots, and it was like, first thing, the ego is always there. What Alcoholics Anonymous allows people like us to do is starve the ego and feed the soul. I don't need a bigger God, I just need a smaller me. And my dad got to me, and that's when it changed again. Our roots began to grasp a new soil. I didn't know that then. I knew something was different because I basically collapsed. And my dad put his hands under my arms and held me up. It was over. What my dad kept repeating in this moment, and I was very aware of the proximity of he and I, this close, physically this close. The last time I was that close to my dad, I was probably 3. And he kept repeating something. I'm not going to lose my son to this. I'm not going to lose my son to this. Over and over and over again. And I was placed in my 7th treatment center. And after about 10 or 12 days in that treatment center, my mind, this alcoholic mind, was not done with me. It didn't care that I prayed to God. It didn't care that my family wanted me to get well. It didn't care that I said I'm done. It didn't care. And it wanted to leave treatment and go get drunk again. And truly, by God's grace, they sent me out to Minnesota, and I've been coming back ever since. June 23rd, 19 years, more important than my own belly button birthday. I grew up in New York, an area called Brooklyn, New York. You can tell I'm not from Oklahoma by the way I speak. I come from an Italian-American family. Even when we say I love you, it sounds like a threat. I don't know how that happens. Yo, I love you, you know. we had guys in my first home group in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, who changed how it works into how you doing. What a crew that was. I was a good little musician growing up. God gave me that gift. I can play music. I play drums. I played a lot of Latin music and jazz music. I could play piano. I played clarinet. I played saxophone. I wasn't intimidated by any instrument. You give it to me, leave me alone for a week or two, I learn it. It was just one of those things. My family wanted to send me to something called Juilliard. They said, I think he's gifted. I was really touched, not gifted, but anyway. And there was great hope. I was a kid in the neighborhood who was going to make it out via music. My brother's real proud of me. Stopped playing clubs and professional bands and things like this. I had a little reputation going on, but my drinking was assuming more serious proportions. But at 14 years old, I picked up my first drink, and my first drunk, it was Colt 45 beer. I was not okay. I presented well. I was good in school. I presented well. I could speak well in school. I got good grades in school, good little athlete. But the music was my thing. But what was going on the inside was quite the opposite. I had a mom, as I said earlier, took her life when I was 14. She was one of us. She's alcoholic, narcotic user, mental health issues, and I remember about a half a dozen suicide attempts. Psych ward after psych ward after psych ward after psych ward. Seeing my mom in what I thought was a funny white jacket one time. Learned later on it was a straight jacket. And my dad was who he was. And it was incredibly unsettling. And around 8 to 10, there was a man, I called him a distant relative, who would take me into the basement and do bad things to me. And I was threatened to tell anyone about it. Bad things were going to happen to me. And when you're 8 years old and you got 18, 20-year-old guys standing over you, it's frightening as all hell. So I kept quiet and ate it. And you're walking around with this poison inside you. I don't blame none of that for my alcoholism, but as I said earlier in a workshop, it's stuff that happened. It's trauma. It's part of the ingredients that made me me and my point of view on life. I was terribly afraid of alpha males for a long time. My dad was one, and this man who did this to me was one. So growing up, if I saw someone was an alpha male, I'm leaving. I'm going to get hurt here. I'm out. Into sobriety. I'm backing away. It was not yet fixed. That stuff is groundwork for how I'm going to operate. I need to get a different podium. I'm going to get killed on this thing. So the guys would hang out in Brooklyn on street corners. I remember in Brooklyn, everyone hung out on street corners. That's what you did on schoolyards. And they drank and listened to music. It was a cool time. I've said this so many times. Is before disco and MTV ruined everything. We listened to rock and Motown with the transistor radio. Flip down, you had the Four Tops. Flip over, you had the Beatles or the Rolling Stones or the Doors. It was cool. Colt 45 beer. Everyone was drinking. The older guys were drinking, flirting with the girls. The girls were flirting with them. It was a scene in the summertime. Get all dressed up, whatever that looked like, to go down to the street corner and go nowhere. 40 guys chip in and come up with $10. It's what a life. And I used to watch them. I love the effect produced on them by drinking alcohol. I want to do that. And it was a pecking order. You had to work yourself up. You had to beat somebody up or do something daring. You had to get into that crew, and that was really important because I'm not feeling too good about me. The accolades for music was nice, but they got quiet. They went away. I'm stuck with me. I hated me. And my mom's not around. She was a buffer for life. She was a wonderful lady. Just sick like we were when we came in here. I can't talk to my old man. There was no relationship. And he would throw money at us, and that was about it. It was tough. But this one night, I put my hand in and grabbed a quart of Colt 45 beer, and I began to drink. I don't know what's about to happen to me. I'm hoping I get like these guys. And halfway through a quart of beer, I'm feeling something I never experienced before, a sense of ease and comfort by taking a few drinks. Drinks I see others take with impunity. I love this. I got taller. I got better looking. The girls got prettier. They all wanted me. It was incredible. Why are you laughing at it? Look at it. I loved it. And I'll tell you, by the time I finished a quart of beer, my first drunk, I'm drunk. And I know I'm drunk. I can feel drunk. It's warm, it's fuzzy, it's nice, I'm insulated, I'm powerful, I feel in control. One of the biggest delusions I come into AA with is that life is controllable and I can control it. When I'm drinking alcohol, I feel like I'm in control. You're going, this guy's way out of control. I feel like I got it. Like we used to do. I drive better when I'm drunk. I know what I'm doing. Right? I know what I'm doing. I loved it. You know, I'll speak for myself. I didn't realize how much bondage I was in until I tasted a little bit of freedom that night. And when I tasted freedom that night, I didn't want it to end. I am not going to school on Monday sober. I'm never being sober again. I want this to last for eternity. What I found in Alcoholics Anonymous, the freedom I seek is by experiencing God, by living in truth. Deception keeps me in bondage. Delusion keeps me in bondage. I need to get away from that. Being drunk and thinking it's going to be different is deception and delusion. I'm in bondage. I find God, I find truth, I find freedom. That's what AA offered me. There's no debate. There's no discussion. There's no struggling. What should I do? Drink and die, find God and live. Let me get back to you. Okay. And I try to capture that elusive feeling for the next 15 years or so. And it took me to, like many of us, to jails and institutions and knocked on death's door. In 1988, I was in serious trouble. Not only with legal stuff, physically in serious trouble. I even welcomed the idea of dying. I even tried to take my own life in some flea bag motel. And I went on drinking, and, you know, the trapdoors have trapdoors. And there's something in music called a crescendo, and that's when the music gets louder. And my addiction was getting louder, and it was becoming more offensive, and consequences were escalating quickly. And my family was getting the brunt of it. They were involved in my little drive-by day in and day out. When the police would drive down, or the ambulance or the fire truck would drive down in the middle of the night, my family would get tight. It must be him. He's in trouble again. The phone would ring late at night. They would tell me, they'd all tense up. Oh no, what'd he do now? And I'm just going out getting drunk. Get off my back. I'm fine. And I start to steal because I'm an alcoholic. I'd rather take money than work for it. And I stole from my dad a few times. I stole from his checkbook. I would take a check out of his checkbook, forge his name, go down to the local store. They cash it. They knew who he was. They cash it. And I walk out with beer, go across the street to the liquor store and buy whiskey. I'm about as sharp as a bowling ball back then. I knew nothing about checking statements. So I would get these checks and have the guy cash them and think they just disappeared into space somewhere. And my dad got a checking statement in the mail and he came looking for me. Now back then, he wasn't the guy you wanted looking for you. He didn't smile when he was happy. This was not going to be a good day. And he found me sitting in Lower Manhattan by the Brooklyn Bridge, across the street from a building called the Southbridge Towers. I was sitting in the car with some young lady I met the night before. So I'm in like stalking and love, same thing. And I'm thinking I'm all that, you know. I'm like Snoop Dogg meets Al Pacino. And I got the seat rolled back, the windows are down, the music is up, I got the Walmart jewelry going on. I'm like Gucci on the outside, Walmart on the inside. That's me. And I'm thinking I'm a real player, and the old man drives up, he finds me, and I handle like any tough guy would. It sounded like this: honey, that's my dad, you talk to him, I'm running away. And my dad caught me, and I blamed her. I blamed the guys in the neighborhood. I blamed Mom's passing. I said, I'm all confused, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not an alcoholic. And my dad said, I know that, but I found a place to put kids like you to get better. It was a treatment center. And I walk into my first treatment center. I'm like 19, 19, something like that. I'm petrified. I cried when I walked in, like I got dropped off at day camp or something. I walk in, you know, like I got this, you know, they close the door. You know you're not doing well when your side of the door has no doorknob. This is not good. That thing closed. I went, I can't get out. I cried. So I did the 28-day, 30-day thing, and going to groups and identifying all my feelings. Hate. That was pretty consistent. Go to art therapy, go to dance therapy, very messy. They took us to the gym one time for physical fitness. And there was a basketball hoop on that side and a basketball hoop on that side, and had one basketball. They had like 5 crackheads, 5 junkies, and 5 winos. Go play. And the ball bounced, and it was like, I'm not getting it, you get it. Except for the crackheads who were like, I'll get it. I'm going right to hell after this talk. And I got discharged and I was drunk in an hour. And I, trapdoors have trapdoors, and I'm going about my business. I'm drinking even more. I'm eating even more pills. I got into some non-conference approved dry goods. I'm the type of drunk, the more numb I could get, the lower I can get, the less pain I could feel. I didn't like the fast stuff. I did it. I don't like it. You're saying things you shouldn't be saying. She looks like Bo Derek and wake up next to Bo Diddley. I don't know how this happened. So so anything to numb me up, because quite frankly, life hurt. It was painful. We all know that one. You get siblings who go to school, go to college, get married, have a house, have kids. They're enjoying life, and I can't do it. I look in the mirror, I want to spit. I'm self-conscious, I'm self-centered, I'm self-seeking, I'm self-absorbed. I don't know what to do. I hear myself talking, I'm telling myself, you shouldn't have said that. I'm not talking, my mind says you should say something. I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't, and it hurt, and life's coming at me. Rather than packing into the stream of life, life's coming at me, and I can't breathe until I drink. I make my second treatment center. I make my third and fourth and fifth treatment center. Now I walk into my fifth treatment center. I want to be respectful of our traditions. I got holes all over my arms. I got holes behind my knees. I can't stop drinking. I'm addicted to some other stuff. I can't stop eating pills. I'm in serious trouble. And when I walked into my fifth treatment center, he says, 30 days don't work for you. Why, I'm that bad? I said, They said, we want to hold you for a while. And somehow they managed to hold on to me in this inpatient lockdown treatment center for 9 consecutive weeks. It was a 28-day model back then. Somehow, whatever they did, 9 consecutive weeks inpatient. So what happens to you when you're in a place like that for 9 weeks? You start to bathe, you start to eat, you start to work out a little bit. I was able to play a little basketball. I'm going to group. I'm putting on some weight. I'm getting color back in my face. My blood pressure is normal. And I start to feel pretty good about me. And after 9 weeks, they said, listen, we need to discharge. We can't hold you anymore. I gave the usual alcohol response. I'm good. I know what I need to do. And I got discharged on a Saturday, crossed the threshold. It was in Amityville, Long Island. And I hit the fresh air, and I'm slammed with reality. I don't know what to do. I have no money. I have no job. I have no girlfriend, and I can't call home. What do I do? Where do I go? It's on me again. And that very same mind who went a little bit quiet in treatment woke up and said, you need a drink, a bump, a pill, or something just to figure this out, just to figure life out, and then we'll know what to do. And I called my dad, Collect. I told him where I was and what I was doing. He says, reluctantly, get in a cab and come home. I'll pay the cab when you get here. We'll figure it out then. Long drive from Amityville, Long Island to where my dad lived. I'll never forget this. I walk in the door, and my 2 kid brothers who used to look up to me and idolize me are standing in the kitchen. And the middle guy says, what is he doing here? He's going to ruin everything. That was a dose of reality for me, of the damage I did. I was hurt by it, insulted by it, but it was a reality. I'm not there, they're doing fine. I show up, they're not fine. We tend to take people hostages. Yeah, Big Book says years of living with an alcoholic can make any child, a wife, neurotic. The whole family has to some extent become ill. That's why I'm so grateful for Al-Anon for saving my family. I'm in this house for 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. I'm physically sober. I have no post-acute withdrawal syndrome going on. I'm physically sober. But mentally, I'm still drunk. There's no spiritual connection. There's not even a God in my life. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can't carry on a conversation. My dad's remedy for everything, including COVID, was pasta. Yes? My dad's cooking. You'll eat something, you'll feel better. I'm going to puke. The smell of food. I love that smell in our house on a Sunday morning. Oh my God, it's music. I got to get out of here. And on Monday morning, I snuck out of the house. I don't know, it was maybe 4 o'clock in the morning. I took a car that didn't belong to me. I took some money that wasn't mine. And I went down to South Brooklyn and waited for a liquor store to open. This is where I get slammed with reality again, where I get to meet my demons, eyeball to eyeball, if you will. And I have a powerful desire to stop drinking, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stay sober. Right now I need a drink to stop this. And I get out of the car, and the plan was, pardon me, to get 1 pint of whiskey. Yeah? 1 pint of whiskey, get in the car, get back to where my dad was, ditch the car somewhere, and I can chill for the rest of the day. I just need a little pint of whiskey just to take the edge off. But I'm alcoholic. I get out of the car, it was a set up an ambush, and I'm pacing back and forth, waiting for the liquor store to open. He wasn't open yet. As I'm walking up and down the sidewalk, I literally start to feel like I'm going through withdrawal. I wasn't, but the mind says we need a drink. The obsession's so loud and so powerful, my stomach is flipping, my forehead is sweating, my hands are shaking. I need a drink. I need a drink right now. No, I don't, but I did. And when the liquor store opened, I run in there and get a pint of whiskey, run back outside, and I start to drink it. Don't go to the car, drink it right now. I finished the pint. You know what happened? I felt better, because that's what it does. Okay. Never made it to the car. I'm breathing. I can function. I'm an alcoholic. I needed a second pint of whiskey. For some reason, when I drink the first one, the second one screams louder. It's called craving. I get stuck in the more. I need more. Give me more. Go throw up to get more. Pay any price tomorrow to see comfort today. Need more. More of everything. I'm a glutton. And I can't stop it. And there comes a point where I know this is bad. I shouldn't be doing this. This is not going to work out, but I got to. Sitting on the bar stool, I got to get home to the wife and kids in an hour. Hour passes, another hour. When she calls, I'm not here. Got to get home to my family, got to get to work, whatever. I want to show up for life. I want to be a boyfriend. I want to be a brother. I want to be a son. I really do. I want to keep down a job. I can't. Because King Alcohol says you drink me first before you do anything. And I have to. And when the body's hurting and the body's shaking and you know this is going to settle it down, I go in. The mind says, we're going to have one, take the edge off. Don't worry, I promise you. I never get out. I went on one of the worst drunks ever in all the years out there. I've said this a bunch of times. If it wasn't for my dad's money, he wasn't rich, but he had some dough and some of his connections. I wasn't a violent drunk. I wasn't a guy running around with guns. I wasn't that guy. But when you get arrested enough times, the judge usually puts you away for a little while. I got arrested a lot of times. I've never been to prison. And the trapdoors have trapdoors. And I landed my 6th treatment center. Truly by God's grace. Today I don't mistake grace for spiritual fitness. What I do get to do in Alcoholics Anonymous is the power that gives me grace I get to experience. I'm a day and a half, 36 hours in my 6th treatment center. And I want to die. Because the reality burst upon me of exactly what I turned into. Now followed me right into the hallway. And the counselor said, don't leave. There's hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel. All the little phrases we heard to bring hope. Then they were blunt with me. You're going to die. Don't leave. I walked out. I knew, my name's Peter Marinelli. This ain't working out. You're going to get sober. They're going to get sober. She's going to get sober. He's going to get sober. It's never going to happen for me. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do life. How do you hold down a job and have a relationship and not drink? You got to take a little juice as a buffer to get out there. Life hurts. It's too painful. And when I got to Alcoholics Anonymous in 1988 sober, life still hurt. It was still painful. I needed a design for living that works, and I didn't get it right away. And I found myself in some flea bag motel in an area called Staten Island, New York. And there was a young lady who took a liking into me. She felt bad for me. She said, I live upstairs above. There was a motel above a nightclub. Swanky joint. So I have room up there, just crash out. And that's what I did. And I said, drink Jack Daniels and pass out. Jack and some pills and pass out. Anything I drink, quite frankly. And I just laid in bed. And one night when she finished her shift, I heard her come in. She fell asleep. I snuck into her room and I went to her pocketbook. Because I knew there was money from working bar. I was going to take the money and get out of there. And I found about, I don't know, almost a half a bottle of pills. They were Valium. I says, my prayers have been answered. I'm out. And I went back to my room and I ate them and I washed them down with whiskey. And I got back into bed and I waited to die. I can't do this. It's too painful. I'm killing everyone around me. And when that stuff hit, because it hit, and you can feel it. I had a thought. When I was a kid and my mom passed away, it was 1974, some different points of view on life back then. But the men in my family, my dad, my uncles, sat my brothers and myself down and said, listen, the Marinelli men are strong. Men are stronger than women. Women do this. Women commit suicide, not men. Remember that. Men are strong. So you're taking at the gospel truth. This is dad and my uncles. Mom was weaker. She's a woman. Okay, I got it. Then I'm in this bed in this flea bag motel, and I know I'm about to go away permanently. And I realize this is not a gender issue. This is what the councils talked about. This is what H and I talked about when they brought meetings into the treatment center. This is alcoholism. I want to die because I'm never going to get sober. And dying looks like the escape valve. It's the way to go. What Alcoholics Anonymous gives me today is not a fire escape, but a fire extinguisher. We put it out. It's not smoldering anymore. It's not laying around. It's out. And then I start to travel light. I start to travel in the light. Isn't that great news for folks like us? And I'm on the street. God interrupted my death. A lot of things happened after that. And I'm on the streets for the first time. I don't know how to be homeless. I don't know how to panhandle. I don't know how to do any of this stuff. You learn quickly. And I found this abandoned building hallway. Lost contact with my family. And I lingered out there for a while, way too long. If anyone's ever been homeless, one night on the street is awful. This was a lot longer than that. And then June 23rd, 1988 showed up. And just to tell you, I finished this little treatment center in Amityville, Long Island. They sent me out to Minnesota. And I spent a year in Minnesota. And I was brought to a meeting called the Three Legacies meeting in Minneapolis. Meeting about this size on a Friday night. Everyone dressed proper. Everyone was dressed nice. The greeters, everyone was dressed proper. They gave AA its respect. I wanted to be on your team. When I saw this, you guys were glossy and shiny. You spoke great. You looked clean. You had families and jobs and you were sober. If someone had 5 years, oh my God, they're going to erect a monument for this guy. 5 years. I'm standing in the back of the room pinned up against the wall. There's no way I can move up front. My brother sent me some of his clothes because he knew I had nothing, so I'm wearing sneakers that are too small and pants that are too small. It's getting cold out. It's in Minnesota. I got one. Remember those members-only windbreakers back in the day? I got that thing on. Someone threw me a scarf. I'm freezing all. I'm embarrassed. I know the clothes don't fit. I'm embarrassed. I'm way underweight. I got the look. So I'm pinned up against the back of the wall, but I'm saying, how, God, do I get on this team? I need to be on this team. Something about these folks, I don't know what it is, it's all God, that have the solution. I hear your story, say, they're like me. How do they get there? How do you sit in the front row? I'm against the wall. I can't even walk up to the front, let alone go over to the coffee pot. I'm staying right here, I'm not moving. How you doing? I'm fine, everything's good. Sometimes you try to front when you walk into a meeting like you got it together, and old timers says, you must be new, come with me. Yeah. And after Rio was brought home, my dad invited me back home. And I slept on my kid brother's couch. I'm the older brother, I should be taking care of him. My kid brother was taking care of me. And eventually I got my job back. Started getting to work early and stay late and saving money. I'd get paid and have money from the week before. It was like unbelievable. And I opened up a checking account, a savings account. I had saved up enough money to get my first apartment. My first apartment was a little studio apartment, guys. And my brother lived on the 4th floor. I lived on the 2nd floor. And there was nothing in it. I used all the money I had to get the place. And I had acquired some AA bumper stickers. First things first, things like that. And I put them on my door. I'm a Catholic. I had a crucifix above my door. I had a big book. Somewhere I found a Bible. And there was a woman. The woman, the old timers in AA, the women, they mothered me. They were wonderful. Honey, congratulations. We got your first apartment. Come to my car. She gave me a sleeping bag. I know you don't have any furniture. All I have. I'm from Brooklyn. I don't know how to get into a sleeping bag. I almost killed myself. And I get into the sleeping bag, and I got my Bible. I got my big book. I got the carpenter above my door. I got my AA bumper stickers on the door. There's no phone. There's nothing in the place. I have a sponsor. I have a home group. I have a job. I know where I'm going tomorrow to an AA meeting. I slept at the Ritz-Carlton that night. And my brother come down. Sometimes we have breakfast on the weekends. My dad showed up one time. There was a knock at the door. It was my dad standing at the door with 2 boxes. He had a coffee maker, remember those Mr. Coffee things? And the starter kit for an apartment, dishes and saucers and cups and that whole thing. And he said to me, he says, can I come in? And he came in. I had a little round table. I'm a nervous wreck. I'm in close proximity with this guy. And I washed out the coffee pot real quick. He put on some coffee, and big coffee drinker. And I sit at the small table with my dad, and we're having coffee. My dad has big blue eyes. And he's staring at me. And I'm like fixing my hair. Something's wrong. My eyes are clear. I know him. What is he looking at? I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't steal anything. And he's just staring at me. And we're having coffee. And what he told me later on was he couldn't believe that he was sitting with the son that turned into a man. And he praised you for doing that. Forgive me. But it was the beginning of this new relationship for he and I. And a week before he passed, thereabouts, Mary and I would see him all the time. I went over there alone, and he was sitting in a wheelchair, and he went down to 115 pounds. And very proud man. And he says, do me a favor, can you put me in the bed? I'm embarrassed to call the orderly. He knew he wasn't looking good. And I leaned over to pick him up, and I put my hands under his arms. And there was a moment of clarity that I says, oh my God, on June 23rd, 1988, my dad leaned over and put his hands under my arms. And I knew my work was complete. I lifted my dad, he weighed like a feather, and I put him in bed and tucked him in and made a couple of jokes about calling a couple of nurses over to keep him company tonight, things like that. And gave my dad a kiss, and I know it was the last time I was going to see him. We spoke once after that, and he passed a couple of days later. But for Alcoholics Anonymous, I was able to do that clean. You know? My dad, from being this adversary, became my hero. He fell in love with my wife, and he didn't like anybody, so this was good. And they hit it off great. So I get to chop wood and carry water in Alcoholics Anonymous and do this for fun and for free. This is my life. If you knew this is going to sound terribly lame, I don't have a life. It belongs to you and God. And because of that, I have a full and abundant life. Scripture says, if I try to find my life, I will lose it. If I lose it for his sake, I will find it. I got rid of my life. I want no part of it. Let God direct me. Let you tell me what to do, and I will follow. That's what I do. I want to be a spoke in a really big wheel called Alcoholics Anonymous, where I get some grace and dignity here, and I look at people with grace and dignity. I love this fellowship. This is our life. I can't fathom life without Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm blessed beyond blessed to be a member in Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, the only thing God wants is our soul. You know, and I'll get out of your hair in a minute. When Alcoholics says that, get comfortable, because we're going to be here for a while. I promise. The only thing God wants is our soul. Yeah? We kind of do that in step 3. I gave him my soul, and he gave me a life. I've given him my life, and he's given me purpose and direction. I've given my sinfulness, and he gives me forgiveness. I've given him my drunkenness, and he gave me sobriety. I've given my sobriety, and continues to give me the sacred rooms called Alcoholics Anonymous. And there's a friend of mine years ago gave me a book. It's not an AA book. And if you're like me as an alcoholic, I look for the pictures first, read the ending, and then I start from the beginning. But I was going through this, and I saw some italicized writing. I says, what's that? He's not talking about AA, this author. But when you hear it, he's talking about AA and the sacredness of it. And this is what the author says. It's become my walk. May I become at all times, both now and forever, a protector for those without protection, a guide for those who have lost their way, a ship for those with oceans to cross, a bridge for those with rivers to cross, a sanctuary for those in danger, a lamp for those without light, a place of refuge for those who lack shelter, and a servant to all in need. That's my Alcoholics Anonymous. Guys, thank you so much for having me. That's all I got.